Okay, good evening. I'm calling the regularly scheduled meeting of the Habra Heights City Council to order for February 9, 2026, and we've just adjourned from closed session, and I'll have our city attorney report out.
And I'm going to turn on my mic, but there's no reportable action.
Thank you.
Yep.
And with that, we'll go through the roll call. Norm Zazula.
Here.
Greg Steffler.
Here.
John Pespiza.
Here.
And Carol Engelhardt.
Here.
And I'm here. And please, everybody stand for the flag salute. And we have one presentation. Is that right, Rafferty?
Correct. We have one presentation tonight. We have a new representative from Southern California Gas Company. We've all known Julia for a long time. She was our representative and liaison. She has retired. So we do have a new representative who is here tonight. Her name is Clarissa, and she'll be talking a little bit about the gas company and introducing herself to council as well.
Thank you. Took a little bit of my talking points, but thank you, Rafferty. I appreciate the introduction. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council. Appreciate the opportunity this evening to formally introduce myself. As mentioned, my name is Clarissa Serpas. I'm the Senior Public Affairs Manager for SoCal Gas. As mentioned, your former representative, Julia Emerson, has earned her well-earned retirement after 20 years of service, and I now have the pleasure of being her replacement and your new representative for La Habra Heights. So as the nation's largest natural gas provider, our mission is to provide safe, reliable, affordable energy delivery today, so we're ready for tomorrow. And for more than 150 years, SoCal Gas has been a longtime community member, providing your constituents and local businesses with natural gas services, cost savings programs, and supporting local nonprofit organizations. Now, even though it's been a little warm recently, the temperatures are expected to cool down, so I just wanted to take the moment to remind folks as they kick on their heaters again that they can actually call SoCal Gas to do a free appliance safety check, and this is free of charge. So to learn more about this service or any of our programs, they can call 1-800-427-2200 or visit us at our website at socalgas.com. I also have customer program information left for you, and we've also put some out front for your constituency. Now, I also wanted to recognize the city's commitment to public safety, particularly around fire safety, and emphasize that SoCal Gas shares the same priority. Each year, we partner closely with our local first responders, including the La Habra Heights Fire Department, in which we conduct safety trainings to enhance coordination and really strengthen our overall preparedness. And through these ongoing efforts, we want to ensure that together we can respond quickly and effectively in the event an emergency happens related to natural gas. So in closing, again, as your representative, I'm committing to working with you and your city staff should you have any questions or any needs arise. So again, I want to thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Does anybody on the City Council have any questions? Anyway, we worked with Julia for a long time, many, many years, myself personally, so wish her well in her retirement and say hi to her for me, please.
I will, yes.
And welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, with that, we'll move into public comments. And John Dominguez, please.
Good evening, Council. Just have a quick update as far as the volunteers. We've gotten 4 more volunteers since I was here last, so it's 4 more. And we're planning on having a meet and greet meeting for some of the volunteers, specifically the ones who are actively looking to participate in coordinating or communicating with the rest of the volunteers. So those are the ones that hopefully one of these upcoming Saturdays, I think the 21st or the 28th, with our Saturdays. We're going to be meeting at the park, and we're going to start talking about how we can coordinate and what exactly we're trying to accomplish. So far, it's all been a matter of collecting emails and names and what they want to do and how they want to participate. But this will be the first time we're actually meeting. And that is my main update. That is the progress for the volunteers. We're actually meeting and having a greet and meet. Thank you.
And thank you, John, for all your hard work putting this together. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Rafferty, just sorry to interrupt you. Just real quick on that, can we put some thought into, or go back and look at how we utilized volunteers in the city before? You know, I know that when I first moved here, there were, and for the first few years, there was volunteers at the front desk. There were volunteers that were, you know, doing other things in the city other than just picking up trash on Saturdays and, you know, stuff like that. So maybe we can go back and look at how we utilize volunteerism in the city and give, I mean, my hope is that we give John some meaningful tasks. I know that, you know, we talk about like manning the phones and stuff like that. I gotta believe there'd be people that would be interested in helping, you know, the city be more, you know, resident friendly in that space. Not that we aren't, but, you know, having someone, you know, at the front desk that's a volunteer might be one of the things, because I seem to recall that we used to have volunteers there, so.
You can take a look and bring something back for council.
Okay, with that, we'll, the next comment or public comment I have is Susan Brooks.
Good evening, Susan Brooks, Skyline Drive. I have two items here, and I'm representing the La Habra Heights Improvement Association. The first is the Easter egg hunt on March 28th. This is a free event to the community and outside the community. We have egg hunts, and we have a balloon twister, and we have face painting, pony rides, petting zoo. It's a lovely, lovely event, but it will start at 8 a.m. on Saturday, March 28th, right before Easter. And all are welcome to attend. And it's free. Just bring a bag of candy, I think, is the individually wrapped candy is the ask for that. And the second item is I am a glutton for punishment, and again, I will be hosting and chairing the community yard sale for the La Habra Heights Improvement Association, and that is on May 30th. And the notice has just gone out on that, and we'll be doing more advertising. It will be on May 30th from 7:30 to 1 p.m. We upped it a little bit in time this time. And residents can register now through our website, lhhyardsale@gmail.com, or just come to the city. They have the forms to fill out, and it's $20 for residents until March 15th. That's the early bird special. On March 1st, we will open it up to non-residents. So we were really encouraging the residents of La Habra Heights to get involved. This is a community building experience, and from the past times that I've done this, most of the people that have participated have loved getting to know their neighbors, and it's just been a really great community event. So clean out your closets, start saving your stuff, and it is $20 for a 10 by 20 spot, and we have 3 sponsors already secured: Jan Fiore from Realty, Next Move with Ray Fernandez Real Estate, and also Matrix Oil. So, and hopefully I can get another sponsor or two for this event, but they've been very generous in the past. All right. So any questions, you can either call the city or go through lhhyardsale@gmail.com, and they'll be happy to help you. Okay?
Thank you, and thank you for all the hard work in putting all this together. And with that, Rick Brooks.
Good evening, Rick Brooks, Skyline Drive. I'm sorry I'm not up here with good news. I have spoke to the City Council before about the problem with people parking on Skyline, Casolero, Avocado, Crest. Other neighbors have complained as well. But you all need to know that Wednesday night at 10:20, I got woken up where somebody was at my gate, rang my gate bell, and I have a camera down there, and it's a woman, and I said, "Can I help you?" She says, "I'm here to get my daughter." And I said, "Sorry, there's no children here. What address are you looking for? I just think she's in the wrong place." Well, this man comes around the car and goes ballistic. And he says, "Where's my daughter, mother?" And he's covering the camera, and he's ringing my doorbell. 51 times he rang my doorbell, okay? I finally stop. It finally stops. I said, "Look, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no daughter here. There's no kids here. You need to leave." "F you, motherfucker." I'm not going to even begin to say all the foul language and how violently out of control this individual was. So I said, "That's it. I got to call the sheriff." At 10:27, I called the sheriff and said, "Look, I don't know what's going on. This guy's covering the camera so I can't see it. He's ringing my doorbell. He's cussing." And, I said, "I don't know if this is an excuse for a home invasion robbery, but you need to get somebody here, and you need to get somebody here fast. You need to know that I'm home alone, and I'm scared for my life, and I'm arming myself, and you need to get somebody here fast." "No problem, Mr. Brooks." He got my name, got my phone number, minute and a half call. So I go up on my deck, and those of you who've been to my house, where I could see down to my gate, and I go out where I feel like I'm safe, and this guy's out of control. "You effing rich, pedophile, you're that." And this guy's just screaming on the top of his lungs, out of control, right? Now another car pulls up, and they got flashlights. There's people, 4 or 5 people walking around on the street, and I don't know what's going on still. So next thing I know, I hear one of the people say, "Well, let's go up there and get her." Okay, now I go to DEFCON 2. So I'm not even going to say on the record what I did, but I called the sheriff back. Okay, and that was at 10:41. So that was like 14 minutes later. The sheriff says, "Yes, Mr. Brooks, we're aware of your call. We're looking for a car to send." 14 minutes later, no car is on its way. So I go back up there, and I have it. He says, "Hold on." He leaves me on hold for about 10 minutes. And at the same time, these people are down there. Now they move a car parallel to my fence. I think they're doing that so they could climb up on their car and climb over my wrought iron fence. All right? It was game on. This was very, very serious. Okay? So the guy comes back on the line and says, "Sir, we're still looking for a car." I said, "What does that mean, looking for a car? You need to send somebody. You need to send somebody now." And I repeated myself to make sure that they understood that I was prepared to use whatever force I deemed necessary to neutralize them as a threat. Okay? This was out of control situation. Puts me back on hold. 5 minutes later, he comes on and says, "Well, we found a car, and they're on their way." I said, "When will they be here?" "I don't know." "What do you mean you don't know? Where are they?" "They're a long ways away." A long ways away? Okay? Ridiculous. So now this is going on. I could show you on my phone. I was on hold with the sheriffs for 29 minutes, and I finally said, "The cavalry's not coming. I'm on my own." Okay? 11:13, they finally showed up, 46 minutes later. 46 minutes. You know what could happen in 46 minutes? Okay? It's unacceptable. Now, I know all of you are saying, "Oh, geez, let's blame it on the sheriff's department." It's not their fault. It's all of your fault. Because you're the ones who don't fund 24/7 police presence in our neighborhood. That needs to change, and you need to start working on it tonight. No resident should have to be in fear for their life for 46 minutes waiting for the sheriff's department to show up. And I can tell you this, had they climbed over the fence, had they breached the gate, there would have been one of two outcomes. They would have killed me or I would have killed them. Either way, the city would have had a wrongful death lawsuit that it can't afford, a $20 million, $50 million lawsuit. Would have been the end. This was very, very serious. Okay? Now, as it turns out, their daughter was parked on Skyline, not in my driveway. That's what the sheriffs told me. And she was home while they had them detained. And they had them detained for over an hour. Okay? So this has gotta change. Now, right now we have what, 8-10 hours of police time? The last numbers I saw was around $800,000 or $900,000 a year. So to go to 24/7, what's that gonna do? Triple the price? So now we're at $2.7 million, right? Just stay with me on the basic math. It's not that difficult. If we're already putting out $900,000 and we need 2.7, it's $1.8 million. We have roughly 1,800 properties in the city, right? It's $1,000 a property that you need to put a tax assessment on this voting period to get this done, so that we have someone patrolling our streets 24/7, so we can get a reasonable amount of time. When I lived in Fullerton, 4 minutes I had an issue, 4 minutes to get an officer there, okay? There's no excuse, and it's up to you to figure it out. I've given you other solutions, which nobody wants to do. Nobody wants to turn Hacienda into commercial and get sales tax revenue, or Harbor into that. Nobody wants to go back to LA County and say, wait, we're only getting 10% of our property tax revenue when LA gets 25%. Mr. Steffler, you're an attorney, and you know, from what I understand, you wrote an argument for the Supreme Court. See if you can hit one more home run for me, please. Go back to LA County and get 25% instead of 10%. Whatever we have to do it. Because when you look at the LA County budget, last time I looked was several years ago, was well over 40% for fire and for sheriffs. 40%, and we have to pay for it ourselves. We're entitled to at least the 40%. So, you know, please, sir, make an argument, hit one more home run, okay? Because it's for all the residents. It's not just for me, okay? But, you know, when I lived on Avocado Crest, my truck was broken into in the middle of the day. I had someone come and knock on my door at 2 o'clock in the morning. I called the sheriffs. It turned out it was a girl who was lost. I had no idea if it was a home invasion robbery at 2 o'clock in the morning with some young lady about 18 years old saying, I'm lost and I'm scared in the dark. I didn't open the door, but I called the sheriff and said, you need to get somebody out here quick. 40 minutes later, nobody ever showed up. Now, I didn't say that was an emergency, but still, okay, my house on Skyline, when I was waiting for permits, the garage was broken into and they stole my tools. During my construction project, the neighbor saw 2 guys coming back over the house where they broke into it. Since we've lived there in the last 4 or 5 years, we've had 2 homeless people into our yard. Now we have this, and we have people up there all the time. So you need to do something about it, and you need to do something about it tonight. Because I want to hear from each one of you that it's not acceptable for any resident to have to wait 46 minutes for sheriffs when it's a serious matter. Okay? So please, one of you, put it on the agenda to say, let's look at this. What's it going to cost? Because I'll tell you what, I don't give a darn about the roads. I have a 4-wheel drive truck. Let the roads turn into dirt road. But I want safety, and that's your job, number 1. Public safety, number 1, fire department, number 2, and paramedics, number 3. Those should be your first 3 concerns. And 8 or 10 hours a day, a few days a week is not acceptable. So please take this seriously and let's do something about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And maybe the Sheriff's Department could take a look at this and find out what happened and get back with Mr. Brooks. But okay, with that, we'll move into I guess committee comments. We don't have any comments, right? So we'll move into city council comments. Does city council have any comments tonight?
No, I'd just like to remind people that we're having our final sustainability workshop on the 21st of February at 10 o'clock here in the MPR. This is the wrap-up of the workshops we've had looking at things, as Rick just said, underfunding of our various public safety resources and our administrative staff. So it's an important meeting. I trust people will come and participate because we'll have tough decisions to make based upon what our situation is.
So just to follow up on that, all of those city workshops that we started in place are exactly revolving around what you talked about tonight. So it's not like it's being ignored. Okay, with that, we'll move into administrative reports. City manager's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to echo earlier the couple of events we do have coming up. There's a compost giveaway at the park. So on March 14th, will be compost giveaway. Easter egg hunt on March 28th. The quarterly cleanup will also happen on April 18th, and the yard sale on May 30th. All great events, all great opportunities for residents to participate in community events and or get rid of some excess items and get some mulch for their yards as we move into the spring planting seasons. That's all I have for you tonight.
Council, have any questions? Okay, city attorney's report.
No report.
Community development report.
We continue to be busy over the last couple of months. Inspections have been filling up quickly, so if you do have building permits and need inspections, please call and schedule those inspections as we've been filling them out very, very quickly. We continue to move along. We've issued a new permit for a new house on Curry Hills and continue to move forward with projects and code enforcement as well. So if you have any questions, happy to answer.
Okay, fire chief's report.
Yes, good evening. So January was an exciting month. If you look at our statistical information, we're pretty much on average 60 calls for the month of January. What was significant is that January the 20th, we put our brand new Pierce fire engine officially in service with a traditional push into the station. Along with that, also met with Daniel Andelon, which is Senator Archuleta's office, to address the station needs. And then on the 4th of February, met with the La Habra Heights Improvement Association to thank them for their generous donation and to address other smaller needs of the department. And since I have my fire marshal here, he can address the 2025 brush clearance session and into 2026. Ryan, please.
Thank you, Chief Martin. So I'd like to go ahead and mention that right now we are in our preliminary inspection phase for the 2026 brush clearance inspection season, and it will commence on May 1st and run until this time next year. Any questions?
Any questions of the fire chief? Thank you very much. Thank you for the report.
Thank you, sir.
So with that, we'll move into the Sheriff's Department report.
Good evening. I just want to take a quick few seconds to introduce myself. My name is Sharif Morsi. I am the new Operations Lieutenant at the Industry Sheriff Station. I also brought with me, I would like to formally introduce your new deputy for La Habra Heights, Deputy Gio Serra. He will be here with you, providing service that you expect from us. and we'll be here for any questions. Nice to meet you.
And welcome aboard, so thank you much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And with that said, the crime reports for the month. Starting off with burglary to a residence. The entry was made with no force. It took place, the report was taken on January 21st, but the actual incident took place on January 15th around the time of 11:14 on Canola Street. The second crime we have is fraud by false pretenses. That took place January 8th between the hours of 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on Colbin Street. Next crime we have is vehicle burglary. The first one happened on the street SES Furry. That took place January 10th, 8:30 p.m. to between the time of January 10th, 8:30 p.m. to January 11th and 9:15 in the morning. The second crime related to vehicle burglary took place January 10th as well between the hours of 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Pepper Tree Street. And then the last vehicle burglary for this is January 10th, 7:10 p.m. to between the hours of 7:10 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. on Pepper Tree as well. Next crime we have is petty theft, which took place January 12th between the hours of 2:45 to 2:45 on Nabal Street. The next petty theft we have occurred, this is between December 18th to January 6th on Cashline Street. Next petty theft we have occurred between December 31st, 4:47 in the morning to December 31st, 5 in the morning on Tangelo Street. Next notable crime that we have is a traffic accident, fatal traffic accident, I should mention. This took place January 22nd at 7:43 on Harbor with a cross of Bella Vista. We had another traffic collision without injuries on Harbor Street as well, January 21st at 8:18 with the cross street of Fullerton. And then we had another non-injury traffic collision January 28th at 8:43 in the morning. We have a person deceased crime. This took place January 10th at 11:36 a.m. And the other person deceased took place January 17th at 02 in the morning. We do have another crime, injury to a county employee, that took place January 27th at 7:34 in the morning. I'm sorry, at night on Tuman Street. And then our last crime report for the night is a vehicle was stored, impounded, January 10th at 9:17 on Hacienda. That concludes the crime report from the Sheriff's Department.
Council, have any questions? Maybe you could take a look at that. That seems like more than we normally have, so I don't know if that's a spike in the system or not, but take a look at it and maybe you can report next month on that.
Of course, sir.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move into the consent calendar, and I'll read the items. Waive reading in full of all ordinances, resolutions, and meetings on the agenda. That's item 9. Item 10, Treasurer's Report for the month of December 25. Item 11, approval of the warrant report for January 26. Item 12, minutes January 10th, special city council meeting. Item 13, minutes January 12, regular city council meeting. Item 14, project updates and deadlines. Item 15, authorized to purchase fire helmets, accept donation for the La Habra Heights Improvement Association. And would any council members like to pull any of those items?
Pull the item, but we should definitely give the Improvement Association some credit.
Well, let's pull that item then. So we'll pull item 15. Any other items? Do I have a motion on 9 through 14?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes?
John?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. So with that, move into item 15, which is authorization to purchase fire helmets and accept donation from La Habra Heights Improvement Association. And I guess there's really no staff report. You want to comment on this a little bit?
Comment. The fire chief on the generous contribution of the Heights Improvement Association for the helmets?
Yes, I met with them on February the 4th at their board meeting and presented them with an invoice of order placed for 20 helmets, totaling approximately $9,300. And they approved it, and we're very thankful for them so that we can go forward upon your approval with the purchase of these much-needed helmets.
Thank you.
So yes, a big thank you to the La Habra Heights Improvement Association. They've done previous donations to the fire department, so it's very nice of them to do that. So with that, do I have a motion on item 15?
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes?
John?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. Okay, that's the end of our consent calendar, and we'll move into item 16, which is our 2025-26 mid-year budget amendments. May I have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Our Assistant City Manager, Angie, will give us the mid-year budget update.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight we present the city's mid-year budget for fiscal year 2025-26. It represents the city's financial performance for the first 6 months. So the fiscal year began July 1st, so we're at our mid-year point here. And this is to provide projections until the end of the fiscal year. As for the general fund, revenues are projected to decline by approximately about $196,000. They're primarily due to lower fee-based revenues that we budgeted for and probably we don't know if we're going to receive them or not, so just to play it safe, we just reduced it. And then these declines are partially offset by ongoing development activity, so good thing we have a lot of plan check activity going for ongoing projects, and then also facility rentals. In regards to expenditures, they're projected to remain pretty stable. We do have personnel savings which help offset some of our professional services. And also we're proposing just a minor staffing adjustment. We'd like to reclassify the vacant finance manager position to an accountant 2. We feel it would just better align with our operational needs and also probably get a better pool of recruitments. I was just kind of looking at other cities, and just based on our pay, we probably won't get someone, if we keep the finance manager position, we probably won't get someone qualified. So it might be a better choice to reclass and just have someone have an accountant and then just mentor this individual and hopefully they'll see how our city works, and they'll just thrive. So overall, our general fund reflects a net decrease of about $188,000, but it's still projected to end with a fiscal year surplus of approximately $429,000, so that's good. In regards to special revenues, these are mostly street maintenance, other types of grant-funded programs. They are performing as expected. And then many of our expenditures are below projection just due to the timing of our capital improvement projects, but we are on track. In regard to the fire fund is projected to end with a net year a favorable change of $118,500, largely due to personnel and operations savings, which offset those increases. So just to summarize the city's financial position, we do still remain stable with our essential operations. Staff does recommend City Council review and approve the 25-26 mid-year budget adjustments. I'm open to any questions. Hopefully I can answer them.
Council have questions? Greg has got a question.
I'd like a little more detail on the drop in administrative fees. What was the substance that caused that significant drop?
Sure. So primarily it was based on our contract with Ware. The contract from last year, just the estimate for admin fees. So just going back and kind of recalculating everything, I think I overestimated.
Nothing further. Move approval.
Second.
Did anybody have any questions before we move approval on it? Any other questions? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
And Brian's yes. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 17, which is our 2026 brush clearance program. May I have a staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and council members. Our Fire Marshal, Chief Jorgensen, will give the staff report for the 2026 brush clearance program. Hand it off to Chief Jorgensen.
So good evening. So once again, the City of La Habra Heights maintains a year-round brush clearance program. The attached resolution declares that weeds, rubbish, refuse, and other combustibles materials growing upon or in front of the properties constitute a public nuisance and must be abated immediately. In order to comply with the annual notification and protest hearing requirements, the attached resolution sets an abatement deadline of May 1st, 2026, and declares that any properties found to be out of compliance by that date can be abated by the city. Residents in violation will be responsible for all costs associated with the abatement, including but not limited to administrative costs, inspection fees, and actual abatement costs as set forth in the City of La Habra Heights Municipal Code. Public hearing will be held on April 13th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. And it is also recommended that the City Council adopt Resolution 2026-04 declaring that in addition to weeds, rubbish, refuse, or other combustible materials, dirt, debris, runoff from private property upon public roadways in front of properties are a public nuisance, and declare its intention to provide for the abatement of such nuisances and set the date of April 13th, 2026 for the public hearing.
Questions? I just have one comment. In fact, the brush is going to be really tough this year. We've had a lot of rain, and just driving around the city, I see it just growing like crazy out there. In fact, in my mayor's column, I'm reaching out to the residents to get out there and get busy with it right now, as it'll save you a lot of work if the residents get out there now and get a lot of this cleaned up, so we're not chasing it after the fact type thing. So hopefully hopefully residents will get out there and do their weed clearance early this year, because that's what we need.
I couldn't agree more, Mayor. Once again, I'd like to reemphasize to all residents that brush clearance is a year-round responsibility. I know that the misconception is still that it begins May 1st and ends around the end of October. However, in reality, to your point, sir, it is a year-round responsibility. So let's all be proactive and good neighbors and good residents.
And thank you very much for the report. And do we need a motion on this one, Todd? Yes, we do. Okay, do I have a motion?
Move that we adopt resolution number 2604 and declare our intention to provide the abatement for such nuisances and set the date as April 13, 2026 for the public hearing in connection with the same.
And do I have a second?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 18, approval of Hacienda Road Safety Improvement Project change orders and notice of completion. We have a staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I'm glad to be able to bring this one to you. We are complete with the traffic signal at Avocado, Crest, and Hacienda Road has been completed, along with all the restriping and the signage changes for Hacienda Road from our northern city limits to our southern city limits. This is a project that has started a long time ago and went through several rounds of review with the Roads Advisory Committee. And then on May 13th of 2024, the City Council awarded a construction contract to Crosstown Electrical and Data to do the work of installing the traffic signal and striping. The notice to proceed was issued in March of 25. Construction began on that same day. The work was deemed to be complete by September 29th, 2025. The approved contract amount for the project was $946,487. During the course of the project, there were 8 change orders issued. Those are summarized below. The first one was to upgrade the street light shields for the new safety lights that are over the signals. The second change order was to change a pole type from a pole type 15 to a type 15S. The third one was related to the flashing warning beacon. Item change order 4 was ADA ramp modifications. Change order 5 was AC pavement repairs in areas of the intersection. Change order 6 was pole modifications. Number 7 was a reimbursement for an LA County 4E chip, which is the controller chip, and for remobilization of interim striping at the intersection. And change order 8 is just the normal bid item adjustments for the agreement. So the total amount of the change orders was $73,124.23. The project was approved with a contingency. That contingency was for $141,973.05. So all the total of the change orders are less than the allowed contingency we have. It makes for a total construction cost for $1,019,611.24 would be it. This item is funded through a grant from Caltrans, so HSIP Highway Safety Improvement Projects. So it's a reimbursement grant. We've already previously submitted for the reimbursement for the design portion and received that design portion funds back, so $80,000 for the design. Since we have made all of our final payments to Crosstown Electrical, we have submitted for the reimbursement of the construction costs with a request for additional funding. It's $889,000 is the construction covered cost to it. So that has been submitted to go through a Caltrans process. They review all the paperwork and all the attachments to be able to actually reimburse the city for the costs of the construction. So our recommendation is for the City Council to approve change orders 1 through 8 in the amount of $73,124.23, except the Hacienda Road and Avocado Crest traffic signal and safety striping highway safety improvement project HSAP as complete, and direct the city clerk to file a notice of completion with the Los Angeles County Recorder. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer for you.
Council have any questions? Do I have a motion?
Move the recommendation as advanced in the notice.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol? John?
Yes.
And Brian's yes. And this, just one point, this totally closes out everything with that stoplight, is that correct?
It does, correct. So everything is there, functionable, all of the punch list items and everything were there. We have tested them multiple times to make sure that it is functioning properly, the battery backups function properly, everything has been tested.
Thank you. I think it's a big improvement for the community myself. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 19, which is striping improvements at the intersection of Avocado Crest and Citrus westbound, Avocado Crest east of Hacienda Road, and the intersection of Canada Sabra east of Hacienda Road. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In the same general area, this is a request to do additional striping and safety warnings aspects to the roadway at the intersection of Avocado Crest and Citrus Road, and also westbound Avocado Crest at Hacienda to stripe, restripe the way as you are going north on Citrus and you connect to Avocado Crest, East Avocado Crest right now. It's sort of a large intersection today. People don't necessarily taper to make a full 90-degree intersection with Avocado Crest before making a left or right onto Avocado Crest. So it ends up in a lot of people kind of sneaking across and going down Avocado Crest without looking at who is coming up or down Avocado Crest for those that are coming off of Citrus. We've heard from actually one of our roads committee members that he's seen people waiting at the stop sign to make a left onto Avocado Crest with a couple of cars behind them and somebody just kind of going around them and continuing on down the roadway. So the request is to restripe that area, to tighten up the striping, add some delineators to be able to direct people to Avocado Crest so they can intersect that intersection at the correct angle to be able to see traffic coming both ways and not sort of taper off into the side of it. Also including some keep clear for the driveways that are close to the Avocado Crest signal, as we've noticed some stacking in the evening times, can't stack past their driveway. So we will include some keep clear in those areas so we don't block that resident's driveway with our westbound Avocado Crest traffic on there, and also include some striping at the intersection of Avocado Crest, Canada Sombre and Hacienda Road to clean up their stop and stop ahead that's faded at that intersection as well. Since this is a project, we went out to bid and we requested bids. We received 3 bids, one from CAT Tracking, one from Crest Company and BC Traffic Specialist. And our low bidder was $12,502.50. The total cost for striping and improvements is $12,502.50. By CAT Tracking, staff is requesting that we amend the budget to increase Public Works account 101-450 PWD 6950 to fund the interim striping and authorize staff to schedule CAT Tracking Inc. to complete the work at the intersection. If you have any questions, happy to answer them for you.
Questions on this? Carol's good.
I'd like to ask about Commissioner Bragdon's comments. He questions whether the proposed striping is an appropriate method given the way traffic normally flows there. Would you speak to that?
Yes, so the way traffic normally flows at Citrus, right now the striping is there. It is a little bit faded. There's nothing to channelize people to actually come to a perpendicular intersection of Avocado Crest. A lot of times people will not fully make the perpendicular intersection to it. They will kind of go off a little bit at a diagonal, and as they do that, it makes it a little more difficult to look at the westbound traffic on Avocado Crest that's coming down past Skycrest. So it can make it a little more difficult for people to actually look back up the hill and see if anybody's coming down. They will sort of come out and then just move across. Or sometimes, as we've heard at meetings before, people will just stare at the driver that's there and then just sort of keep going and not actually stop in that section. So we feel that refreshing the striping, tightening that striping up, and adding the delineators in that area will help drive traffic to the appropriate angle they should be approaching Avocado Crest and not veering a little farther west where they don't have the best line of sight to see the traffic coming on Hacienda, on Avocado Crest.
Would the striping include a limit line on Citrus moving towards Hacienda? Or right now the striping has that sort of triangular cutout. It's almost invisible now, but that would remain, I assume? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, that will remain in those areas.
How would we limit, if someone's coming down Avocado Crest and someone's coming down Citrus, how do we control that confluence of traffic?
It's up, the person on Citrus is supposed to stop. They have a stop sign to wait for the free flow of traffic on Avocado Crest. So that's directing them to where they actually get to the limit line bar where it says stop and the stop signs are for them to actually know that they have to stop, and not kind of going off at an angle where they're technically would be running over where a median would be. That area is striped as double in both areas, so that would technically would be like a median area, but like driving over a median and out into the roadway. This will direct them to the appropriate location where the limit line bar is and keep them a little tighter to it and not allow them to bleed a little farther west.
Thanks, that answers my question.
Question. Oh, go ahead.
Carol had a question, then you can go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go ahead.
This includes the delineators,
Yes.
and where exactly would the delineators be? What's in the current, where the current faded paint is?
Yes, the delineators would follow the double yellow line that goes from on the northbound Citrus towards Avocado Crest. It would follow that double yellow line that's right there today.
Do you know how long along Citrus?
It won't go. It won't extend. It won't extend too far down to where the confluence, where the lanes are together. It won't extend that far down into like where it is where both lanes are touching. It'll be right as it starts to curve because there isn't the neighboring driveway that has to have access in and out right there.
So it would be below that driveway at those eaves?
Yes. Yeah.
I know one of the people that lives on the north side of Avocado Crest there, between Citrus and Hacienda, he was suggesting what he was telling me is that the cars that are coming down Avocado Crest, going westbound, just go like crazy, and he can barely get out of his driveway. It's just a comment, this won't solve that problem. It's a dangerous intersection, and we just had an accident here last week. So I don't know if this is enough.
One thing, I know Norm wanted to make a comment, and I'm going to let you make a comment, believe me. John Dominguez wanted to comment on this, so I'm going to open it up to the public keep it down to 1 minute though, please.
Thank you. If you could clarify for me, by delineators, is that a physical thing or is that a visual thing that's on the ground?
Delineators are like the plastic posts.
The stanchions or whatever?
That sort of stick up about 3-4 feet tall.
Are they going to be solid or are they going to be plastic?
They're plastic. They have to be breakaway, so it can't be.
Okay, I don't know if you've seen the ones over by Hacienda, getting onto the 60 on Hacienda. There used to be like 40, they're down to about 20. That's not going to stop. They need something physical to hit so it doesn't hit and cause that accident that happened last time around. I think we need something more solid, not plastic. Thank you.
Other questions? Norm?
Yes, a couple of questions. First of all, has the problems at the intersection become worse in the last year or so, or has that always been the situation? In other words, problems with people getting out of their driveways?
For the keep clear that we're looking to do, it's generally become a little bit worse with the traffic signal, as in the evening hours, there's more people that are waiting to make a right or a left onto Hacienda that stack a little bit farther with the traffic signal.
I appreciate that. I've been trying to figure out just how much increase the traffic has been, and I haven't driven enough to have a good opinion on it. Second suggestion, or at least not a suggestion, but just a question, has have you ever considered a second stop sign at the intersection of Avocado Crest and Citrus on Avocado Crest also? I'm not proposing, I'm just asking.
We have looked at it. It would require us to do a warrant study to be able to put a stop sign in, so we would have to go through an engineering study to be able to see if there's traffic volumes, speeds, accident data, to be able to warrant the need for a stop sign in that area.
So in other words, you have to have a few accidents in order to justify the stop sign?
Yeah, so there has to be shown a need that there's a need for a stop sign to be able to to install the stop sign.
Because I've had discussions with other residents over the years about wanting a stop signs in other places, and there are a couple places in my neck of the woods I would suggest also as being a inherently less safe situation because of the lack of a stop sign. But basically, we have to go through the study and firstly demonstrate there's been an accident or two in order to justify it.
Yes.
Okay, I'll withhold further comments, but thank you very much on that.
John's got a question, I guess.
Yeah. So, is it worth spending this much money to put up a temporary solution, or should we approach an engineering company to look at that intersection and determine if we need to do something more robust than just putting up delineators?
We can always approach an engineering company to look at it, go through a warrant study, design something else that may be more permanent, like a median or something in that intersection that physically limits the ability to enter that area. That'd be engineering, design, and those aspects.
Yeah, because I mean, how much of this money is for that, and how much is for the other? Do you have the breakdown?
The majority is for that. The other things are not very expensive.
Okay. All right.
Do you know how long it would take to get an engineering study? Or do you have any kind of estimate how much it would cost?
I don't. We'd have to put it out to RFP if you want us to go out to bid, to do a design bid, to review it, and then put it out to proposals and get proposals, review proposals. It would more than likely be above my signing authority, so it'd be something to come back to council. So a couple of months or more to just make it through that process, and then for them to study maybe a month, and then a month to 2 months for design work. And then since that area is bordered with LA County, we would have to go through the process of including them in that design process and review and approval, since the eastbound lane of Avocado Crest is LA County and the southbound lane of Citrus is in the county. It's only the northbound and the westbound of Avocado Crest that are actually in La Habra Heights.
Have we tried reaching out to the county on this for help and assistance?
We discussed it with them even when we were doing the traffic signal.
And
they would look at it and comment on anything we wanted to propose, but wouldn't join in the design or...
I mean, the intermediate thing, I guess, would be kind of ugly and stuff if you put a K-rail up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's an option. We could put K-rails out in the roadway.
Before you did that, you'd want an engineer to approve a plan so you had design immunity for any potential accident. So I do not suggest you tell Rafferty right now to drop cement there.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
But the plastic delineators, because they're breakaway, don't require the same scrutiny.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, in my humble opinion, present as much of a safety hazard themselves, right? So, and plus, since it is being authorized by the council per staff report, there's some argument that we get some protections for approving it this way under the immunity provisions.
Okay.
Did you give an example? And what I took it was that there were two cars coming east on Citrus, and they stopped, then the third car just blew by them.
Yeah.
The delineators aren't going to solve that problem, are they?
That's not one the delineators would solve because they were more than likely to get around the other cars going into oncoming traffic to get around the other cars that were doing the correct thing.
I do think this is a very dangerous intersection, and people have been commenting on it for years.
No, I understand, and if we do, I think what everybody's talking about, what John talked about, is if you do a full engineering study with all the drawings and all those things and put the meridian and all that, I mean, we might have to go that route, but that's a huge expense.
Yeah,
That's,
you know, we just spent a ton of money on a traffic signal to make that area safer. I'd want to make sure that before we spent more money in the same area, that we looked holistically at the city and figure out, is that really the biggest? I know we just had an accident there, but we have accidents on Hacienda all the time. We have, I shouldn't say all the time. We have accidents on Hacienda. We have accidents on East and West. Is that the area that we should be spending money on? I don't know the answer. So, I mean, I guess that what you're proposing is is something to try to see if that helps with the problem, and then we can decide, I guess, if there's other areas we want to address.
It's a low cost, not necessarily solution, but it's a low cost thing that we can do relatively quickly, put into place to be able to affect some meaningful change, study it as we move forward and see if there's anything that may need to be adjusted or additional.
so do I have a motion on this to accept it?
We could try. I mean, but the HSAP project we've been work for the signal we started that in 2021. We're just done now.
Another, not so much a suggestion, but just a thought to throw out. Would we have to go through the same procedures to get, say, speed humps in the road? You have them down lower on Citrus.
Definitely, because you have to look at speed factors with speed humps. So those weigh into those things as well. So it's looking at that. City of La Habra went through an extensive process where they looked at various options and control measures through the entire community and put in a process in place for them to be able to do the speed humps and the other traffic calming things that they have over there. Some of those times, those speed humps at a higher rate of speed aren't speed humps, but become launch ramps. So those are things to look at, the speed of the street that they're going on and the locations to make sure that it is safe.
I mean, of course, it's the same Citrus, just a little bit higher up in the same traffic, or a lot of the same traffic, basically. Again, not suggesting it, but just suggesting that we consider that in all options. It's
we have our brand new primary deputy, and he will be one of those areas he can look at as he's out there and doing those enforcements.
yeah,
I think we've hashed this over enough.
Well,
how about a motion?
if
I know it's a problem.
But Carol, is it the biggest problem we have?
well, until there's a fatal accident, in which case it is a big problem.
John, you going to make a motion?
Yes, I will. Make a motion that we move approval and authorize the city manager to spend an amount of $12,502.50 for striking improvements in the intersection of East Avocado Crest Road and Citrus Road, westbound East Avocado Crest Road and east of Hacienda Road, and the intersection of Canada Sombre and east of Hacienda Road, and authorize staff to schedule Cat Tracking Inc. to complete the work.
And do I have a second? Okay, I have a motion and a second, and hopefully this will fix it. Norm?
For the motion, yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
And Brian's yes. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 20, installation of traffic loops at East Road and Hacienda Road intersection. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Council. And this item is related to the signal at East Road and Hacienda Road. Over the past several months, we've had a bunch of series of complaints where the people on East Road coming onto Hacienda Road, when they're waiting, it doesn't trigger the signal to change, so it doesn't detect them. That signal uses video detection, so there's cameras mounted on the poles with a detection zone. When a vehicle or an object pulls into that detection zone, it triggers the signal to cycle to allow traffic to flow through. We've had a series of complaints of people getting stuck at that intersection where they're waiting at the signal, but it doesn't trigger the signal to change, so they sit there 5-10 minutes. We've had people say that they've gotten out of their cars and gone over and pushed the crosswalk button to be able to get the signal to cycle as somebody was going to be crossing Hacienda Road. And we've had our signal maintenance company out there several times to look at it. They've tweaked and adjusted and have not found necessarily anything wrong with the equipment or the intersection. They have not been able to get it to do the same things where it doesn't cycle. Myself and Grace have spent lots of time out there at that intersection and the signal waiting for it to see if it doesn't trigger and doesn't cycle. But at that intersection, that equipment that is there is older. The video detection equipment there is an older camera, an older system. So it could be something where those things are getting older and wearing out. In speaking with our traffic company that does the maintenance of the signals, their recommendation is to move to traffic loops. So that would be to cutting the loops into the East Road for detection and running the conduit into the cabinet, the controller cabinet for the intersection. So as you pull up to that intersection, it's not video detection on East Road. It would be using the loops, which are essentially magnets that detect the metal on the vehicles sitting over top of that. So we've been working with Santa Fe Springs. City of Santa Fe Springs does our traffic signal maintenance for that. They have had previously installed and rewired some pull boxes, so some of those things that are out there and needed are already there. We have worked with them. It would be a total cost of $15,200 to move to traffic loops on East Road to resolve any issues with people not being able to trigger the signal for those that are coming off of East Road onto Hacienda Road. So it would be that. If council so chooses, it would be to authorize a budget amendment to increase account 101-450 PWD 6650 by $15,200 for the installation of traffic loops on East Road and Hacienda Road, and authorize staff to schedule the City of Santa Fe Springs to complete the work. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Questions on this item?
Yeah.
John's got a question.
So I noticed driving through the intersection has not been paved in a while. Do we know when it's up for paving? Because paving destroys the loops and you'd have to reinstall them again.
We're currently in the process of redoing our pavement management program, which will kind of give us the timeline of when that section of East would be. So I don't have an exact time of when that section of East Road would be paved in that area. But yes, when you do, it's a 50-50. A lot of times people really like the loops because the loops are pretty solid. They work pretty consistently unless an issue comes with the wires. The other problem with that is when you do the street projects, you grind away the loops and the loops have to be reinstalled and recut in as part of the project. So we did that when we completed the work on Hacienda Road. So Hacienda and Skyline utilizes loops. So when we repaved Hacienda as part of that project, the loops had to be recut into that intersection. West Road utilizes loops, and when there was the water main leak and the water district repaired a section of West Road at Hacienda, they had to recut the loops into the street.
I mean, does it make sense to just take a quick look at that before we approve it, or should we approve it with a request for you to take a look at that and make sure that we're not a year away, or something we're going to do this year?
We are currently in the middle of our current project, our street improvement project right now. We are going to be doing some work on East Road, at the other end of East Road, which is tied to the next item on the agenda. We could ask the contractor to give us a price to do a section of there where we could install, and it would be fresh asphalt with new loops where we wouldn't be redoing it as part of a project in the near future.
I would just say that we should look at it. I mean, like I said, that pavement hasn't been done in quite a while there. And like I said, I mean, it's 15 grand.
I mean, obviously, a lot of this is for the prep work and everything else, so you're not talking about $15,000 on a overlay thing. I mean, if you had to redo the loop, it'd be it's not 15 grand, right?
The majority of it is the stub out, so it's the cost to run from the traffic controller and the cabinet over to where the pool boxes are is a bigger expense to run the conduit in those areas. So it's a $4 grand, $5 grand, between $4 and $5 grand, usually to cut the loops in the road.
So if what John was saying, if you could coordinate that, you'd save $5 grand on it then.
Yeah.
Okay. Greg's got some questions.
Yeah, Commissioner Blagden mentioned that he was a bit concerned that the loops might not catch the large number of cyclists we get, and we have lots. I see them every day practically. Is that an issue or not an issue?
It probably wouldn't detect a lot of the bicyclists, especially we see a lot of road bikers now, and most of those road bikes now are carbon fiber and not metal of any type that it would pick it up. So there could be a potential where it may not pick up. If it's just bicycles sitting on top of those, they probably wouldn't pick it up.
The existing motion detector, does that catch the cyclists or not?
Yes, if they're in the detection box, which is kind of where the first couple of cars sit, it will detect them as objects and trigger it. It's designed to detect people on bicycles and motorcycles.
Can we have a suspenders and belt solution where both movement detection techniques are in play at the same time?
I don't know if our controller at that area is sophisticated enough to allow both inputs for cameras and loops.
But if the bicyclists just push the walk button, the light will change.
Sure, that's fine.
I rode bikes for a long time and pushed the button.
I even noticed we paid extra to have bicyclist buttons lowered on the poles on the new installation.
I like the horse ones because you can sit on your bike and push the horse button.
And the high one's up there too, yeah. Pretty soon, maybe it'll have to be set up by our physical height. Thank you, Rafferty.
Maybe we could put decomposed granite or something like that over the area from the intersection they can get to the light. Because sometimes the weeds get up pretty high.
So do I have a motion on this?
Move to approve.
A second? Okay, I got a motion and a second. Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 21, which is removal of trees at 1300 block of East Road. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item before you is we are currently doing the streets projects right now, so we are going to be doing paving work along East Road between Tuman and Coban. And in that area, as we are prepping for it and walking in with the contractor, there are a couple of trees that run along the south side of East Road that are right directly adjacent to the asphalt and are lifting the street up. So staff is requesting to remove those trees so we don't have any issues with pavement lifting along that stretch of East Road. We've had other trees in that area that we've had to remove as the roots grow up and the trees get larger, they start lifting the pavement. One of them right now actually has a good section of pavement uplifted as part of it. So we put it out to bid with our brush clearance contractors. We received 2 bids, one from California Arborist Complete Tree Care in the amount of $8,250. The other was from Mariposa Tree Care or Tree Management for $10,900. Since those trees are along East Road, it is a fairly busy street, they will have to do a traffic control. That's why the cost is a little bit larger, because they will have to have traffic control out there to do a single lane closure in that stretch to be able to remove the tree safely and get everything out. So that our recommendation is that the City Council authorize a budget amendment to increase the Public Works account 101-450 PWD 6960 by $8,250 for the removal of trees on East Road by California Arborists, Complete Tree Care Inc., and authorize staff to schedule the work with California Arborists, Complete Tree Care Incorporated. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions?
Are these our trees? Do they belong to the city?
They're in the right-of-way, yes.
Sorry?
They're within the right-of-way. So there are trees.
So there are trees. We own the land they sit on.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure they're not someone's trees we're cutting down and we're going to get sued for cutting down somebody's trees.
These trees are along the drainage path that's along, and then, yeah, the properties are uphill from it, so it's not necessarily like a tree in somebody's front yard, but we own well within that is the right-of-way of where the trees are located.
Okay. I just, like I said, just want to make sure they're not on private property and we're cutting down somebody's tree and they're going to sue us over $1 million tree that they planted after their mother or something.
No.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Move the approval of the recommendation.
Second?
Second.
Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And Brian's yes. Thank you.
I might comment that these trees are going to be taken out largely so that we can do an asphaltic repair in this cycle of that section of East Road that's breaking up. So it's mandatory that we take them out, otherwise we'll not be able to have an effective repair.
Oh, no, I could look at it. I could see what they're doing to the road. I mean, that's not a problem. I just want to make sure that if
they're on city-owned
that
property.
They're on our land,
we
own them, and nobody's going to come after us for cutting down a very mature tree, given some of the issues we've had in the past with cutting down trees.
I guess you have to recuse yourself on this item. Okay, with that, item 22, authorization for night work and temporary road closures for Southern California Edison Grid Resilience Project on Hacienda Road. Staff report, please.
Thank you, council members. This item before you is a request to authorize night work and temporary road closures along Hacienda Road for Southern California Edison to do grid resiliency work. Essentially, that's them making improvements to their lines and their poles related to high fire zones and high fire zone requirements. They have identified at least one pole that needs to be replaced that is just south of Canada Sombre and a driveway that services 3 or 4 residences, private driveway along that just above where the nursery is located that needs to be replaced. And then they are going to be running what they call covered conductors. So that is the lines actually have a coating over them to make them a little bit safer during the high severity fire zone. It's not a open exposed cable and wire that runs from pole to pole. So it makes it where sparking and things only happen at the ends and not where the lines are exposed. But from Canada Sombre to Reposado, the lines crisscross across Hacienda in a couple of locations. And when they do those reconductoring, they need to have the whole area closed where they do the work to work safely across it. Since Hacienda is a very heavily traveled road, trying to do a full road closure, as we've seen plenty of times when a pole gets hit down or there's something, an accident that happens and we have to close Hacienda, it can cause a lot of traffic into the neighborhoods and craziness and going around. So the request is to authorize Edison to do the work at nighttime. So when the traffic on Hacienda is not quite as strong, we don't have as much traffic that we do during the peaks of the day. Currently, when people are working on Hacienda, so Edison or SoCal Gas or Edison's vegetation management, we only allow them to work between 9 and 3. So they're not on the road before the morning commute time is done. By 3 o'clock, they're out of the road before the afternoon commute time starts. This project would take longer than that. The pole where they have to place their equipments to be able to replace the pole, Hacienda is a little bit narrow in that stretch, and they wouldn't be able to place all their equipment and keep a single lane open. So that's why the request is to authorize them to do up to 3 nights of work. They wouldn't be consecutive nights. They would not be 3 nights in a row. We would schedule them, provide notification boards and other detours and routes, not only to the neighbors in the affected area, but also for other commuter traffic that runs through Hacienda at nighttime. But staff feels that this is the best solution to allow Edison to be able to go in and do the resiliency work they need to place the covered conductors and replace the pole in that stretch by allowing them to do it at night instead of closing Hacienda during the day when traffic is a lot more robust in that area. So the recommendation is the City Council authorize Southern California Edison to close Hacienda Road between Canada Sombre and Reposado Drive for up to 3 non-consecutive nights to follow and safely allow SCE to replace covered conductors and utility poles in that stretch. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Questions? The only question I have is I know it's 3 nights and it's not consecutive at all, but do you have a time frame at all for when it's going to start and when it's going to complete? Approximately?
When the dates they would start doing the work?
Yeah.
Not at the moment. Once they have authorization, then they will schedule with their people. It would probably be a month and a half out at the soonest.
So it's quite a while out?
Yeah.
Okay. As I did mention this item too, so it's for everybody to watch and look that when it's going to happen type thing. And you'll get the notification out to everybody and all that, so.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion on this?
I move we authorize SCE to close the road at the specified location for non-consecutive nights.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And Brian's yes. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 23, which is agreement extension with EMS Q1 Partners LLC for EMS coordinator services. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Council. This item before you is an extension with EMS QI Partners LLC. They do EMS coordination and nurse educator training for our paramedics and fire department. We have an agreement with them. It is coming to time for renewal. So we have a draft agreement for an extension, for a year extension with them. The one nice thing that we can bring to you is that the price will remain the same. No increase to the price this year. We entered into the agreement with them last year in January of 2025 for a cost of $29,000. That it expired on January 31st, 2026. So we are looking for a 1-year extension to the same agreement, same service levels, extending it through January 31st of 2027 with EMS QI Partners LLC for the amount of $29,000. This cost is already budgeted into the budget for our EMS coordinator services. If you have any questions about what they do or need, our Fire Marshal, Chief Jorgensen, is here. He can answer any questions for you.
Does council have any questions?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, ma'am. Can you repeat that?
Have these people done a good job?
They've done an outstanding job, yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
And Brian's yes. Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 24 is the disposition of their 2007 Chevy Silverado and 2008 Ford Edge. Staff report, please.
Thank you, council members. This item before you is we have a couple of old vehicles that are no longer functioning and serviceable. So our request is to dispose of them by going through the auction process. The two vehicles are a 2007 Chevy Silverado. It's typically the one that Michael would use to drive. It's an early hybrid model, and the hybrid battery has failed on it. They don't have a reliable replacement of that battery for that model year as it being so old. So what it's done to that one is essentially when it goes into hybrid mode, it turns off, but it won't restart. So that can happen as you're pulling out into traffic or an intersection or rolling down a hill where it'll restart. It won't restart, so you have to put the vehicle in park or neutral and restart it and get it to go again. So it's seen its service duty in its life. The other is a 2008 Ford Edge that's used by the brush inspector. That is a vehicle that we purchased from another agency, used a number of years ago. We've made several rounds of repairs to the vehicle. It's continuing to have problems. It most recently stranded our brush inspector at the corner of Whittier Boulevard and Hacienda Road and left them in lanes of traffic. Chief Terrell had to go rescue them out of lanes with the USAR rig and get them back to City Hall. We had Jason, who is the fleet manager for City of La Habra, does our vehicle maintenance, look at and review that vehicle. And the engine needs to be rebuilt or replaced. His rough estimate of doing that is about $7,000, which doesn't make it worth putting that into that vehicle. So we are recommending that the City Council authorize the consignment of the Public Works truck and the brush inspector's SUV to General Auction Company for an auction sale. Any sales that do come back in from that will go back towards another vehicle purchase in the future. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions? Just one comment. This is kind of scary because I remember purchasing that Chevy with AQMD funds, and now it's 2007. So it's amazing how time flies. Okay, do I have a motion on this?
Move to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 25. This is a subscription services agreement with Firescore for community risk reduction, and this was continued from our last meeting. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm sure you've all heard me speak more than I should tonight, but this item before you is a return from our item in January. We're bringing back the subscription services for Firescore.AI, which is a technology that uses satellites and drones to help assist our fire department and brush program to look at vegetation and those things. We spoke about it last month. We wanted to see a few things come back, a demonstration of those for a council member. We've done those. I'm going to hand it off to the chiefs to talk a little more about it, and we can answer any questions you may need.
Hi. So good evening. So April 9th of 2025, I attended a fire prevention officers meeting in Anaheim where I met the CEO of Firescore.AI. We moved forward to June 9th, City Council meeting. Firescore.AI did a presentation. September 13th, Firescore.AI conducted a workshop here at City Hall. And that brought us to February 2nd, last Monday, where Councilmember Engelhardt and myself met with CEO Maman with Firescore.AI to go over some more logistics. I felt that all of the information that Mr. Maman provided was adequate enough to move forward with adopting this resolution. We'd like to go ahead. It is recommended the City Council approve a 5-year subscription service agreement with Firescore.AI for an annual amount of $13,600. And I'd go ahead and answer any questions if you have any.
Council have questions?
I have a question. Carol, what was your experience when you made your observations?
What's my experience?
Yeah, when you went to the
The meeting?
for the demo of the platform, yes.
Well, I wanted to thank Fire Marshal Jorgensen and the owner or the proponent, I guess I still have some reluctance, but I think Fire Marshal Jorgensen is convinced that this will help him be more efficient and give him some more information, and it may help the overall fire control in the city. So I guess it's worth a try.
Thank you, I appreciate that. The other question I have talks about, at this point, it's going to be confined to 500 parcels, or up to 500 parcels, is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Those have been targeted as the most 500 critical parcels in the city as they relate to vegetation management or lack thereof.
Okay, well, thank you. And you've made that selection already, or just in general? Now, have you actually picked out the 500 parcels, or just kind of in general, that description of what you're looking for?
The 500 parcels is Chief Jorgensen working with the chiefs and Firescore.AI to look at the city and feel that those 500 parcels is adequate to cover the area that we have the most concern about, that is within the highest of the high severity fire zones, that has little more difficult areas to access. We'll be able to get that information in areas that are a little more difficult to physically walk to and touch and look at, and that's their best recommendation for it. It's something that we could change or alter over the years based on the need that we look at it. We can come back and up or reduce as we go along.
And that was my third question. Thank you. You can change it from year to year. Thank you.
Yes, we specifically put in there that if we don't need to do all 500, we can reduce the number.
Or we can pivot, right? So as we mitigate the first 500, we can pivot to another 500, and they're okay with that.
It's number specific, not location specific.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is that right? Is that fair, Chief?
That's correct.
Any other questions? I mean, the one thing that I do like on here, that it's a termination of the agreement upon 30 days. So if this thing's not working out and you aren't happy with it and it's not doing the job for you, then we terminate it, obviously. Do I have a motion on this?
I just,
One question, Carol?
this is my fault, I won't go into why, but on page 2 of the agreement, the bottom line, can we insert the word "not" in between "but" and "limited"?
Where was that?
It's on page 2 of the
Attachment?
subscription services, attachment 1. At the very bottom of page 2, just put the word "not" in the last line, but not limited to insurance companies.
Oh.
Todd, you okay with that?
Yeah, I think I left out the word "not." Yeah.
It was my fault.
No, that's fine. My fault.
No, yeah.
My fault.
I mean, if that doesn't, okay.
Well, the idea was to limit them so they wouldn't give data. We're going to be providing them with some data concerning the residents. And I was a little concerned that somehow insurance companies could get this. So this is supposed to prevent them from revealing that to any outside party, including but not limited to insurance companies.
Right.
So I just want to put the word "not" in there.
Okay, do I have a motion with that change?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes?
John?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. And I hope this is a real good enhancement. We're definitely moving into the future on this. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
I guess I would like, I would like a progress report or something in some reasonable amount of time, just to see how it's working.
Why don't we do it?
6 months?
Yeah, as we get into just before peak fire season, I'd be really interested in what it's telling us. I think that would be good for us to have a presentation about what, based off of that, what are you doing and are proposing to do kind of in that enforcement space. I think that would be really interesting for us to see And also, I think that for some of the bigger parcels that are not developed, it would be good to understand what that tool is telling us from a fuel loading perspective.
So when would that be?
Let's say July, August, does that work?
That's more than reasonable. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And again, obviously, it's going to take a while to get your feet wet on this and get it working and understand it and all that. So if August works for you or July works, just let us know and set it up.
Will do. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, with that, we'll move into item 26, is it?
Yep.
Okay, request to purchase firefighter self-contained breathing apparatus and personal protective equipment. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll get us started and hand off to the chiefs here. But obviously, fire department is a big asset to the community. It's a great part of who we are and what we do. But there's always an ever-growing need to make sure that our firefighters are properly equipped and have all the safety gear that they need to be able to operate safely. The chiefs have been going through and looking at all of our equipment and materials as we've been out reaching out to various organizations and grants, looking for funding to help offset some of those costs associated with operating the fire department. One of the things that is at the top of their priority related to purchasing is what they call SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. That is the tank in the bottle and the face piece and the mask that they utilize when they're in a fire that helps protect them so they're not breathing the fumes that are out there. Those standards are set by an organization called the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA. So you'll see that a lot of times on different things related to how fire safe things are, materials and other things, but they set those standards that we have to follow as far as what OSHA will regulate, and those things change over times and evolve and grow, and there becomes a need to be able to replace things, to be able to make sure we're in compliance and up to date with what we have. We also have those materials that time out and are no longer serviceable and functionable for that we have to replace. And going through that, some of those things that they've identified are as that self-contained breathing apparatus, radios, turnouts, helmets, brush gear, PPE, so that's coats, pants, helmets, boots, goggles, gloves, and station uniforms. We have been looking at the cost and getting quotes for SCBAs and what those costs are related to. And in that process, we have a vendor that would allow us to piggyback off of another large order being placed by the state through CAL FIRE, which would let us be able to purchase the SCBA units at a significant cost savings to us as a city to be able to do those things. But that's kind of one of the top priorities that the fire department has right now is replacing those SCBAs and radios. But I'm going to hand it over to the chiefs. They have a couple of our firefighters in the back to kind of show you what all the parts and pieces are. It's hard to kind of know and understand what all the various parts and pieces that go along with the equipment that they wear to protect themselves when they're fighting fire. So I'll hand it over to the chiefs, Chief Martin, Chief Terrell. They can kind of walk you through and talk about the various things, the needs that we have, and what all the things are that our firefighters wear when they're out protecting and keeping us safe. So I'll hand it over to chiefs.
Thank you, referee. So when you put that down, just come up here for a second. Just for clarification, I brought Cal. And firefighter Sajorn. Sir. You look nice. Thank you. Uniform. So this is a standard uniform with a shirt, belt, pants, boot, and badge. That's your standard uniform. That's a safety requirement. He has to have a uniform that is made of no mixed material, so it's not completely fire proof, but it's resistant. So if you put a flame to it, it won't burn immediately, but everything burns at a certain temperature. So when you step back, thank you, Firefighter Sajorn. So next, Firefighter Ballesteros now is coming forward with the complete set of personal protective equipment. Underneath all this, he's got that standard uniform. So personal protective equipment, so you're aware, comes with the helmet, goggles, hood. You go inside his pouch, he's got a face piece that'll be attached to his face. He's got a full turnout. He's got pants and bunker boots. Along with that, if you turn around, you've got a standard Scott SCBA. This unit in and of itself is what we're in great need of right now. This item, just by itself, is anywhere, depending on the vendor, between $7,500 to $10,000 to $12,000. Now, I brought one state of the art, so that's a requirement, and it has a gauge on it showing how much air he has, and this is NFPA standard. This is required to go into a burning house, what we call the IDLH. So step forward with the other one. State of the art, we have an MSA. This one is the higher end. We just brought it for clarification so you could see an example of what it looks like. This comes with all the bells and whistles. I'll have Camp Terrell talk to you about it more. Chief? He'll go over what all the standard equipment is on this one.
So pros and cons with every type of equipment you buy. How safe is it? I don't want to never have to tell a family member that he died because our equipment is out of date. Currently, right now, we lost 10 of these bottles that timed out. They're only good for 15 years. They had to be hydro tested every 5 years. So right now we have 23 bottles that need to be hydro tested, and 10 of them that are out of date on the Scott SCBAs. He's got to follow the same rules here, but this has different equipment on it. You know, if you think about it, if you're in a building, can't see anything, how do I communicate? I have a radio. It sits here. Well, this one here is a Bluetooth. It actually connects to your radio. So now if something were to happen, get lost, get scared, whatever, something, you can now just push a button and talk on the radio, and it comes right out of the Bluetooth, crystal clear right to everybody else. Again, technology, really good technology in the MSA. The MSA also has a thermal imager. Now, you ever been in a building where you can't see your hand in front of your face? You take that thermal imager and you see everything. So that if somebody were to get lost, again, technology, it helps us and keeps the firefighter safe from just the difference between these two SCBAs. There's other issues between the two. Give me your regulator. The second stage regulator on the Scotts, you breathe into it. So he may wear it today, and he breathes air back into this thing, or cold or whatever. Guy puts it on tomorrow, it's the same germs. Scott recommends cleaning these every time you touch it. This one doesn't have that problem. Again, technology keeps it from doing that on the MSA. They're both 45-minute bottles. So they tell you 45 minutes. If you get 15 to 20, you're doing good. So, and I guess one of the other reasons is LA County, which everybody knows we run with every day, Downey, Santa Fe Springs, they all bought this one. They got rid of their Scotts and they bought this. Anaheim bought this. Everybody in our area is now buying these instead of the Scotts. So we would be like the only people down on the corner that would still have Scott SCBAs when everybody else is going to the MSA. So if we want to be like the neighbors and work with them or they can work with us, it's always an advantage to have the same SCBA. So any questions on the SCBA's?
So I just want to make sure on the MSA, it has like a location finder. So if someone gets lost in a building, it's
They
easier
have a deal, it's called telemetry on an iPad, and it'll tell you where everybody's at in the building.
So
How well does it work? LA City's been using it, and they're saying, well, it works. It's just one more thing you got to start looking at in your on your tablet.
You mentioned though the what is it, infrared?
Thermal imager.
So this like shows up brighter, you said? And
Well, what it does is you can look through it, and it's not real big, but we have thermal imagers. All it does is it'll tell you anything that's 1 degree different. So when you go into a building that's burning and that table is 1 degree difference than the air, you'll see the table. You'll see firefighters. You'll see anything that's 1 degree different than where you're at.
but
It'll
it can show
it.
someone the way out, right? I
Yes,
mean, they can see
show
through
you the way
smoke
out.
and see the way out. Okay.
Again, it's all about safety. Technology, better safety.
And these are the ones that are 7,000 that we're getting for.
Yeah, these are the ones,
that's
yeah,
what you're
that are
proposing.
$7,000 a piece.
Right.
Yeah.
Warranty for
Yes, they do come with a
15
warranty.
years or whatever you
The suspected life of a SCBA is 15 years. Now, the NFPA standard says, or I'm sorry, Cal OSHA. So Cal OSHA, that's the last person I want looking over my shoulder is Cal OSHA. We have helmets that are over 20 years old.
Wait a minute, we just got new helmets, didn't we?
We have 80 some guys, we only bought 20.
20 helmets that, with the help of the Improvement Association, we purchased.
Yeah, well, there's 88 guys, and right now we only got 20 helmets.
Did you bring one of the new helmets? I just want the council to see the difference between the old helmet that he's wearing and the new helmet, and why I think it makes sense that not only do we look at this, but we also look at buying, I know we just bought 20, that we also think about giving each firefighter their own helmet, because when you see the new helmets and the increased protection they provide to a firefighter, I really think we should look at that.
This is not an NFPA helmet. He's missing the shroud. Oh, is it shroud back here? No, sir. No, so this is not an NFPA right now. Where I was going with this is it has to be tested every year. It goes to the manufacturer and it gets tested. This has got a 2-year warranty on it.
2 years?
I'm pretty sure it's 2 years.
Well, but you need to use it for 15.
That's why I get it every year. Every year they go through a whole testing process. You know, you can't have warranty abuse, or if it falls, or if you fall back, it still gets tested. It still has a warranty on it. Find out exactly what the warranty is.
How long have the Scots lasted us? I mean, how old is the one he's wearing?
This one right here, it's a 15-year, and right now it's the guy just came out and tested them, says they're pretty beat up.
But I mean, how old is the one he's?
Oh, this one is
what average life are we getting out of him? Are we getting the full 15 years out of the whole rig? Okay.
Yeah, 15 years and beyond.
Sure Carol understands these are sounds like they're pretty robust pieces.
Oh, it is. And just this one here takes a rechargeable battery. It lasts, well, all night, next day if you're wearing it. This one here takes 6 AA batteries. And what's our average for a AA battery in your SCBA? So I think it's not even a month, and they're already having to replace the AA batteries. This one here has got a nice big rechargeable battery in it.
More air too, right?
No, it's still both 45-minute bottles.
These are primarily used when you go inside a building or a big warehouse or something.
Yes.
So the NFPA standard, and which we're mandated to follow, NFPA and Cal OSHA, anytime they're in the ideal age. Ideal age is identified. So it could be a structure fire, commercial fire, and a car fire. And trash fire, like a rubbish bin. So you could be out in the open, but you have to be be fully suited up. Yeah, we have, I mean, the possibility of going to a matrix oil incident is not as remote as you'd think. So we would have to go in there fully suited up before we enter the premises, even though it's wide open. So this isn't just for going into buildings. You have to wear this when you go fight a fire in a car fire in the open, a big rubbish bin, big rubbish fire. To answer your question, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay.
For the helmets that we got money for, this is a NFPA helmet. So it meets the NFPA standard. It has goggles, it has a shield. It looks like the same helmet, but this one's NFPA where the other ones are not.
But it also has the additional protection on the back.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's good.
This thing here at the back.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is when you look at the helmet, I mean, think about wearing somebody else's ball cap. I mean, you don't really do that, right? I mean, think about, working a fire and sweating for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours in a helmet, and then your next guy comes on and you're giving him this, kind of nasty. I mean, firefighters work hard.
But we have such a rapid turnover. How can we possibly afford to buy?
No. I'm just saying for each on-staff firefighter, we would. All this can be cleaned, afterwards when they get, a new one, or you can replace the liner.
Right.
So that's all I'm proposing, is that we get enough to have every firefighter have their own. It would be turned in like their turnout gear and stuff like that at the end of the.
Helmets get turned in with their turnout gear when they separate from us, and they get it when they come.
We have a large extractor washing machine. That's what it's for, is to clean these things when they're done. When we're done, cleans all the hydrocarbons and carcinogens off of the coats.
And the hydrostatic testing is on a 5-year interval for the bottles?
Every 5 years, it has to be hydrostatically tested.
And at 15, they're trash?
At 15, throw them away.
Okay.
How many do we currently have of the Scots?
I'm sorry, what?
How many Scots do we currently have?
We currently have 14.
14 Scots?
14, and I have 3. Right now, we don't have enough Scots for everybody. So when we get more people and we have breathers, the captain makes a decision who's not going to have one. Currently, is what we have now.
Well, obviously, our objective here is to have everyone have what they need. And as the chief was so eloquent during our sustainability meeting, talking about the shortcomings of our revenue. So, in line with this request, we finished creating the La Habra Heights Community Foundation. The foundation will be a 501(c)(3). It will allow for donations directly into the fire department's capital budget, as exists with so many other fire departments in the country. So that should come active sometime in March or April. And to speak to the other significant things that we need to accomplish for you, that's one direction we're moving, and we hope to convince residents that one great way to eliminate their IRA required mandatory deductions is to donate it as a qualified charitable deduction to the La Habra Heights Community Foundation, and then the foundation directors, consisting of Stan Carroll, Roy Francis, and Fred Klein, all former councilmen and mayors, will dispense the money as you, chiefs, want to believe your priorities lie. So at some point in time, around in late March, I think, we'll start this formally, and you will have a list of your priorities and your stagings. Probably money won't come in flooding, but it'll come in bits and pieces. And the average, for my wife and I, the average IRA required mandatory deductions around $50,000 a year. So if 10 of us did that, you'd have $500,000 to play with. And so that answers the one question about additional funding for these capital items.
And I might add, the rest assured that Chief Terrell and I are continuing to look for alternative resources, a revenue resource, i.e. grants that are out there. Some of them have been eliminated or not available at this time, but that doesn't preclude us from looking elsewhere. You show me a door, I'll knock on it. And then next week I meet with Montebello's grant writer. She's probably one of the most successful grant writers in the country. So look for some guidance and help from her.
Any other questions?
Just a comment in support of this. It's been at least 15 years since I last wore PPE and or SCBA and stuff like that. It's been a long time. But one thing I absolutely remember is how important it was to me that I had custody and full care of my own equipment, as opposed to somebody else sharing it with somebody else. And believe me, I did a lot of dumb things while I was working with this stuff, but I made doggone sure that I cleaned things up on time at the end of the period and so forth, and kept track of everything. And that's something important for every person who wears this equipment. So I'm obviously in favor of having one set of equipment assigned to each responder. Thank you.
So I think we have an opportunity to save some money, right, if we authorize purchase by February 17th of a number of these SCBA units. So I'd like to take advantage of that, given that we've got stuff that's aging out. The technology, I spent some time with the chief. The technology is significantly better than what we have today, especially the communications technology that allows very clear and concise communication. So I know, $100,000 is a lot, but
I mean, my concern is maybe the numbers of them. I know you have to have one for each position on the truck when you go out, and you obviously have to have your breathing equipment, and you obviously have to have enough of it out there, and you have to have spares and all that, and we need to get going on this. The other concern I have is that the purchase isn't laddered at all. If you bought them all, if you bought all these at once, they're all going to go out at once too.
15 years from now.
Yeah, I know, but I would like to see the...
I just think, like I said, I think we can save $4,000. I mean, that's $60,000 bucks.
But how many do we need? We're operating now with less, so it's...
Do we need all 17 right now, Chief? I mean, can we...
Keep everybody safe. At any one time, we have between 1 to 4 SCBAs down for repair. And just because of that, there's you add the 12 guys, 12 to 13 guys, and then you add the chief and myself. We both have SCBAs. That's 13, 14, 15, and 3 spares. So the minimum would be 17.
Well, I talked to an older firefighter, and he was more approaching it from there's 4 guys on each engine. We send out 2 engines, maybe the patrol truck, so that was like 10.
And then the other thing that concerns me is the prior chief was really interested, was saying the turnouts were the problem. And last year, our budget, I think we're scheduled to move 680,000 into the fire department from the general fund. So I'm worried about money, and I'm concerned that the old chief was focusing on turnouts. He didn't seem to bring this up. So, and I agree with Mr. Bergman. I'm not sure we should buy them all at the same time. And as I say, the older fire person I talked to thought he thought 10, 11 maybe.
Well, to the extent that Angie's report indicates that we'll project this fiscal year to end with a surplus of $428,000, based upon our just approved modification at mid-year. And we'd have to assume that we wouldn't get any money from the newly approved 501(c)(3) foundation, which I think is wrong, because I can guarantee you'll get money from several of us who have been active in that. And that'll be more than probably adequate to deal with the turnout issue. As I understand it, the turnouts expire sometime in July, and that's another 100 grand, 100 and some odd thousand bucks. So I'm fully in favor of allocating and buying these 17 units. I would imagine that next year, when CAL FIRE puts in its next order, there'll be a similar discount because of the size of the order they turn in, and I assume that we'll have access to that as well. And I'm truly appreciative of the fact that they have a 15-year shelf life, but everything in firefighting has a shelf life. And one thing that's great about our department is they've done a marvelous job of adding staff. And these young people and older people need protection. And I'm blessed that, I think we're blessed that we can provide it, even though it's not our normal extreme conservative bent. So were it called for question today, I'd approve it.
That was a motion, you said?
I move to approve.
And do I have a second?
Can I modify it just a little bit, just so that we have a boundary around this? So I just did the math, 17 at 7,000.
119.
Sorry?
119,000.
Yeah, 119. So can we just say no more than 120? To procure
Fine with me. I'll accept the amendment.
Is that getting you what you need, or?
We still have to factor in some sales tax and.
Right, we have the numbers that, why don't you go ahead and
just give us the
explain
number.
it,
What's the number
So
that
now,
you need?
each SCBA, go ahead, Chief.
So each SCBA has to have 2 bottles. So you have your bottle, and then if you come out of a building, you need to change into another bottle. So that's 2 bottles per SCBA. Along with that, everyone's got to have a face piece. Well, 17 face pieces, or are we going to get 88 face pieces so everybody has their own face piece? That's a cost that's going to have to be looked at. Then you have the MSA, that's the one with all the technology.
Sorry, just real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, I apologize. But if we bought so today they share face pieces, right? That's what you guys are saying,
Yes.
is they share the face piece. So we bought 17 with the face pieces with a bottle. That's, to me, it's right now the thing we need to buy to get the discount is the actual device itself, right?
Yes.
So if we bought that, and the minimum, just what is the minimum amount we need right now, so that we get the discount, and then we can, over time, bring some more bottles in or bring some more, does that work?
That does. Right now, we have 23 bottles that have to be hydrostatic tested.
And will the Scott Air Pack bottles work on these, or is it the same bottle? No?
If we use the Scott, we go back to the older SCBA's, and that's not what everybody has in the area. Everybody has MSAs, more technology, more robust, better deal,
Yeah.
or better SCBA. The Scott, on the other hand, is a little bit lower end.
The Scott bottles won't work on the MSA bottles. We would need an MSA bottle, so it would be 17 SCBAs and then two bottles, an extra bottle for each one. So 17 additional bottles. They come with a face piece, so we'll get 17 face pieces, 17 SCBAs with a bottle, and we would need 17 additional bottles to make sure we had 2 bottles per SCBA.
So what's the total cost?
So what's the total then?
Here's it for the Scott, and this was for the MSA.
Man, I wish I brought the glasses with me.
What's the deadline
The 17th, I think,
of February?
February. I think it's the 17th.
Yeah, 17th.
But he's got, why is he talking about helmet? Why are you talking about helmets?
I think it was a total ask.
So per SCBA and additional bottle, it would be $8,216.65 per SCBA. For the SCBA. SCBA is $6,819. Additional bottle is $1,397.65.
So if we did 150, that would be enough
Yes.
to get the
SCBAs, 17 SCBAs, 17 face pieces, 17 additional bottles.
And sales tax.
I guess why do we need a spare bottle for every single unit?
Yeah, because you
I mean,
figure-
these things, obviously, they work on all the units, and that's 17 extra bottles with 17 full units, I guess.
Okay, so we go back and just look at each SCBA. Currently, Medic Engine 771 carries 6 SCBAs. Engine 772 carries 5 SCBAs. And you have one in, so every SCBA, unless it's broken, is going to be accounted for and used somewhere else, either on the brush patrol or on the USAR. 772 engine, it's broken right now, but that's a frontline apparatus that's ready to go. That means if something happens, we staff both apparatus. And if it's going to be frontline, it has to have SCBA and it's got to have a spare bottle.
Right, so just to further explain it for you, so if we had a fire right now, 12 guys go into a burning building, if we just buy the bottle, one bottle, they would not be able to continue firefighting efforts after they use that one bottle. The spare bottle is to remain on scene and continue until the fire is completely out. So you use that bottle and you use it pretty quickly, a 45-minute bottle. So in most fires, like the fire on Verazon, was an hour and 53 minutes. So that took 2 bottles. So if we just have one, we're going to have to go into defensive mode and not do interior attack, which I'm sure the homeowner would not be very happy if we pulled everybody out and then try to put his house out. So that's why we need the other bottle. It's more for us to continue our firefighting efforts. We'll have 4 guys in the building. They'll mitigate the fire as best they can. When they exhaust their water, we have 4 more guys ready to go in behind them. Those guys will come out, change their bottle, and be ready to continue. And the process goes on until we run out of bottles. But usually the fire's taken care of by then.
And just want to make sure you say that everyone else uses this, so if we go to a mutual aid issue, we're going to have compatible bottles, right, with the other, it's not, so even though they're buying their own MSA units, MSA bottles will exchange for MSA units, right? So if we're working with LA City or LA County,
We're
we can
completely
use their
compatible
bottles.
with them, yes.
Okay.
And we could use their bottles.
Right. Okay. So I'll modify Greg's motion to, to purchase the MSAs, not, and authorize, $150,000 to be spent.
I accept the amendment.
So we have a motion that's been accepted. We need a second.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The only question I have, the money obviously is going to come out of the fire fund budget or other monies, and if this foundation clicks off like it should click off, I guess some of that money will be used to reimburse then?
That,
Is that the
What
foundation?
we're expending now or not?
I don't believe so. I mean, remember, this is a separate board of 3 people that decide how to spend the money. The money,
Okay.
but the function of the money is the actual literal language that supports the exemption is that it furthers the interests of the city of La Habra Heights. So I suppose one could discretionarily say, well, we should give that back to the city. My preference would be that the money that we knock off the chief's high priority list first, and then as money comes in, we reimburse the city. But that's something that's got to be decided first by the board of directors of the foundation, and then accepted by us.
Okay. Well, that clarifies it for me, thanks. So you
Got a motion,
made
got a
motion.
second.
Second.
Can I add one line item to
Yes.
the motion? To amend the budget for the amount to line item 260-710 FIR 6912 would be the account number we would amend for.
I accept the amendment as stated by City Manager Woolridge.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Me too.
Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Carol?
I would vote for a lower amount, but I'm not going to vote for this amount, so no. A lower number.
Okay, so and I'll vote yes on it. Okay, so happy SCBAs. And the brand is MSAs again? MSA. So you said that's compatible with all of the fire departments around us?
It brings us to the now, and it makes us totally compatible and totally compliant with NFPA and Cal OSHA standards.
And
Where-
LA County, like if we team up with LA County out of La Habra stations or Area E, all of those firefighters are running around with MSA breathing
To-
equipment?
I think there's only one department that does not. I think it's Santa Fe Springs,
Okay.
and they're already looking at going over to MSA also, because they realize it's the standard and the compatibility that counts, where if we have somebody in trouble and we have to go in there and rescue them, our bottles should be compatible so that we can effectively get them out of the building.
Well, that's what I mean. They all share, so that's pretty important.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay, that one is complete. We'll move into item 27, Memorandum of Agreement and Termination Document with Puente Hills Habitat Preservation Authority.
That'll be me, Mayor. So, as the council knows, we entered into recent agreements with the Habitat Authority. The The prior cooperation document said once we enter into these new agreements, the old agreements are to be terminated. In order to effectuate that, you file a termination document. You record a termination document with the county. So I worked with the Habitat Authority's attorney. We put together a memo of termination, which outlines the transactional history thereof. That's document number one. Document number two, they realized that they being the Habitat, realized when they put together the restrictive covenant on the property that they had an incorrect, they didn't have all of the APNs on the front page, which designate what properties the agreement pertains to. The actual legal description, which is the document at the end, which legally describes the entirety of the property, was incorrect. So they technically don't have to do an amended document, but they want to, and it's no big deal to us. So I attached that document. You technically don't have to approve it since we're not parties to it, but I wanted you to see it for your information. So the recommendation is to approve the termination document, and then all of these various older agreements will go away, and the new ones are already in place and take precedence. So this is, to a large degree, a house cleaning item. That is my report. I'm available for any questions.
Does council have questions of the city attorney? Do I have a motion
Move to accept the recommendation.
and a second?
Second.
Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
And Brian's a yes. And with that, we'll move into item 28, City Manager, Clerk First Amendment Employment Agreement. Staff report, please.
Yes, so I will do that one as well. The City Council had, in closed session, an employment evaluation of the city manager. He got a good review. At council's direction, his salary was modified. The new amount is as listed in the agreement, and that necessitates an amendment to the contract. And so this is the first amendment to the agreement with that new salary. And that's really the report. Nothing else in the agreement changed other than the salary increase. I'm available for questions.
Staff or council have any questions of staff?
Nope.
And this is effective January 1, so.
Oh, yes, and it is because the council directed it at that point in time, so it will be from January 1 moving forward. And that's allowed under law.
Thank you for that. May I have a motion
Move approval.
and a second?
Second?
Carol?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Norm?
Yes.
Greg?
You bet.
And I'm a big yes. I guess you'll be around for a while. Congratulations. Okay, with that, individual member information or meeting attendance reports. Does anybody have an attendance report? Nothing. One thing I did do is I went to the first sanitation district meeting, so I went to that, and actually they did the tour of it, and it was pretty interesting. And it's amazing that they have all that effluent coming in there, and it's doesn't even smell at all. They have a good filtration system, and obviously good flow with. I don't know if they use charcoal filters or what they use, but the filtration system works well, and you're right next to these huge tanks, and there's literally no smell, so it's pretty amazing.
Excuse me, did they offer you a sample?
No, I didn't ask.
I mean, when I took the sample, trying to emphasize how pure and drinkable it was. I declined the sample, though. I agree with that. I was absolutely impressed. It's too bad most of our stuff doesn't go there, but that's the way it goes.
Okay, with that, public comments, any public comments? Any final council items? Okay, with that, we are adjourned.